Today we have The Great Dictator, and this is a fantastic movie. If you've never seen it, it is an all-time great comedy. Charlie Chaplin, his first, or I believe his first, not silent movie, so his first talkie. Obviously, it's making fun of Hitler. I mean, you can see it right here on the cover if you flip it upside down. That's a Hitler. That's, well, it's actually the barber, but that's a Chaplin. Great movie. It has a Looney Tunes slapstick comedy to it. If you've ever watched a Chaplin movie, they're all kind of like this. They all kind of have this slapstick comedy approach because they can't tell jokes, so they have to kind of show jokes. I feel like silent films are where we get the idea of show, don't tell, because they did fantastic work with no talking. They didn't have talkies yet. They were just silent. And a music track, sometimes, that's it. And a lot of them are a lot better than people recognize, but I think it is hard to watch. It is at a bit of an acquired taste now because of how used to it we are to, obviously have sound in our films. But if you can get past them being, in black and white and silent, or not really silent, but no talking or whatever, they are a magical world opens up to you for film. But that's before this movie. This is Chaplin's first talkie, and he does a great job with it. He mocks Hitler basically throughout the movie. It's hysterical. I don't want to spoil too many of the jokes, but a couple of my favorites are pretty early in the movie, so we're going to talk about those real quick. One, he's basically, in the opening of the film, he plays the barber, and he is basically Wile E. Coyote, like a decade before Wile E. Coyote came out. Funny, this movie's in 1940, so a few years after, about a decade after the Looney Tunes, but about 10 years before Wile E. Coyote premiered in 1949, so, it's just kind of funny how he fits into that gap. But he gets on a gun, and he's, like, spinning and trying to aim at he's trying to aim at a plane in the air, obviously, but he's, like, pointing down, like, this at the people on the ground and kind of rotating around. It's just giving Wile E. Coyote. I loved it. It was great. Fits right into the kind of humor I want to see. He's fighting in World War I at the time, but this film is a lead up into World War II. Releasing in 1940, World War II started in late 1939, September of 1939. So, it was probably filming before World War II even started. And, that's pretty interesting, actually, because Chaplin's really calling how shitty Hitler was. And, you got to remember at a certain time, during this time, so, leading up to this film's being made, he was, on the cover of Time magazine. And I know people point that out a lot, look, he was a great guy. He's not a great guy. Don't fall for the propaganda. He's shit. He was a terrible person. He made it on the cover of Time magazine as a terrible fucking person. But also, we weren't involved in the World War at that point. Chaplin's not American, but he was in America, or living in America at this time. And, he kind of called it. He just called it. Hitler was shit. He knew it. He made fun of him ahead of time. This movie almost acts as a call for us to join the war. It really is a great piece, and it's kind of sad that we don't really see this anymore. I don't know about modern schooling. I'm not that old, but I'm a little older. When I was in about 8th grade, I first learned of Charlie Chaplin, and my understanding of it was that after silent films, his career fell off a cliff. He made no talkies that were good. But I think that's actually not true. I've watched a few of his talkies, and they're actually really good. I mean, to be fair, this is a Criterion Collection movie. That kind of puts a certain level of quality in front of you. You're not going to watch a Criterion movie and it's, terrible. I would argue you're not going to watch a Criterion movie that's even bad. You may not like it. There's been plenty of Criterion movies I didn't enjoy, but I would never call them bad. They're just not for me, or something about it didn't really work or resonate with me. Maybe it's not a genre I like, or maybe it's just, not what I was in the mood to watch for whatever reason. But I would never really call them bad. There's a certain level of quality that it is always present in Criterion movies, and so maybe that's part of it. All the Chaplin movies I've watched have been Criterion movies, there have been Criterion releases, because that's kind of the easiest way to get a hold of a lot of his stuff. A lot of his stuff is lost. A lot of silent films are just gone. We will never get them back. The reels were destroyed. There is no copies available. They're just gone. So there is a bit of that where maybe at the time he had like one or two big hits, but for the most part it was shit. But for now, from what I've seen, basically everything I've seen from Chaplin has been incredible. And this is no different. Highly recommend it. Love the movie. So far, it's my favorite Chaplin movie. And that's, I think, saying something, because he's got quite a few that are really good. I haven't watched all of them yet, though. But I did buy all the Criterion ones, but I haven't watched all of the Criterion Collection ones. So we'll recap this, maybe make a list of Chaplin movies at some point when I finish watching them all. But right now, this is really high up there. It's probably my favorite one. Last joke I want to talk about real quick. When you first see Chaplin as Hitler and he just goes on his little speech, a couple things they're extremely funny. I don't know if they were meant to be funny. I think they were. One, he's obviously not speaking German. He's just saying words and like hacking up a lung while he does it. It's great. It's probably not, maybe a little, offensive to the Germans, but it's funny. It is very funny to see him just mocking the language. But the best part is his commanders, shits and garbage. It's so simple. It's such an easy joke, but it's the kind of thing you can really only make in a talkie. And again, while this is nowhere near the first talkie, he made silent films well into the sound era. This is his first one, and it's just such a simple joke, but every time he says their name, I laugh. It's hysterical. It's stupid. I get it, but it's fun. For me, it was fun. Fantastic movie. I cannot recommend this enough. Usually I don't really rate a movie. This is like a 10 out of 10 comedy. This is almost perfect movie. I really have little negative to say about it. I do want to add, though, he made this long before the true horrors of the Holocaust were known to the mass public, and of course just to him. He is on record having said that had he known how bad things actually were in Germany, he wouldn't have made the movie. And to me, that does take away a little bit from the movie in retrospect, in that he clearly understands that he's making a lot of jokes that really aren't funny in retrospect, having learned what we have. I would say that at this point, they're back to being funny. Like, we understand how horrible the Holocaust is, or at least I would hope that you understand how horrible the Holocaust is. So there is a bit of, we know now, so this is kind of funny again, but I could see like a good, 20-year period where this probably just wasn't found funny. It was probably found pretty distasteful. I like to think that we're kind of past that. We've all kind of recognized that the things he did were horrible, and if you haven't recognized that, I'm sorry, you're a terrible person. You just are. If you don't recognize that the Holocaust and Hitler are terrible things and people, you are a bad person. With that being said, this movie is making fun of them, and while it does not touch on some of the harsher realities, it also was made before those harsher realities were really known. And while he suggests that he would not have made this film knowing that, I do think it holds up anyway, and it's still an absolutely fantastic comedy. Highly recommend watching it. If you haven't, please go do so. Thanks for watching. Bye.